What is up, guys? It's your boy at DFS Jimmy here for FanShare Sports again this week, bringing you an early week course preview. First of all, before we get into that, I want to make sure to let you guys know about FanshareSports.com. These guys do all of the work for you. They aggregate all of the sentiment from across the industry. Every single podcast, every single article, they listen to them all, they read all of them, they put all that together in a nice, easy to consume package for you. The whole industry is sentiment is all rolled up into one spot, FanshareSports.com. Make sure you get over there, check out all the things they have to offer. They have the packages for a week, for a month, whatever you want to do. Right now it's all golf. Football's coming up, and I know that they're going to have some big announcements, some big things planned for football. But they would have come in handy last week, guys. If you were over at Fanshare Sports on Wednesday night checking out the pivot plays, you would have been on this guy, Kevin Na. He was the 46th most tagged golfer over at Fanshare last week. Red hot form, but a bit of suspect course history, sort of the perfect target for a GPP pivot. I personally was only on a few shares of him. Unfortunately, didn't have more, but definitely used Fanshare's ownership projections on Wednesday night to identify a couple of pivot plays down in the mid $8,000 range, and Kevin Na fit that category. Logan had him projected at 9.5% ownership. In the big GPPs, he actually came in a little bit lower than that, 8.3 in the big $5 GPP. But he was the 14th most expensive golfer, 46th most tagged golfer, so virtually no touts were on him. Nobody was pumping him up. And he was a great example of team course history maybe being a bit overrated. He had not played well at the event prior to the last 5 years, but was playing exceptionally well on the way in. Great ball striking, and obviously a bit of a grinder. Kevin Na is known for his slow play, but sort of cruised to victory on Sunday. So congratulations to Kevin Na. Hopefully some of the Fanshare guys were on the pivot plays from Wednesday night, and you guys were able to cash in on Na. If you're not, make sure you get over to FanshareSports.com. Check those guys out. They have all the pivot plays, all the ownership and everything. They'll have it going again this week, and then next week for the big Open Championship. You're definitely going to want to be on the ownership plays with all of the carnage that happens at the British Open. Anyway, before we go, I'm getting ahead of myself. A major season. I'm fired up for that. So we need to roll it back. Congratulations to Kevin Na. And we are going to get into this week's tournament, the John Deere Classic at TPC Deere Run. Now, TPC Deere Run, one of the easiest courses on tour. 38th most difficult last year, averages in the last third of most difficult golf courses, averages a full 1.35 strokes under par, which means guys can get hot here. I think Robert Garrett has shot a 59. Steve Stricker has a 60 here. Certainly a golf course that is all about opportunities. Extremely easy to hit fairways, extremely easy to hit greens. Both of them are hit 5 to 8% higher than the tour average, right? Just above 70% fairways and greens are hit here. I think the tour average is like 63 and 65% respectively. So definitely on the easier end of the spectrum. It is a par 71, so we do add a par 5 compared to the string of par 70s we've had lately. And that will be crucial for DraftKings scoring. DraftKings scoring definitely puts an emphasis on the par 5s. This week, they are gettable. Guys can and should be scoring on all of them. Eagles can be had on 2 of the 3 par 5s. The longest is not as generous with the Eagles, but certainly very much a birdie hole. While the par 5s are crucial for DraftKings scoring, the actual tournament tends to come down to performance on the mid-length and long par 4s, specifically the mid-length par 4s that average right around par. So actually, let me pop up the ATK card here, and I will walk you through it. Your 2 most difficult holes actually bookend the 9s. The 9th and the 18th are the most difficult holes, and really they're the only 2 holes that I would say are not a birdie or a scoreable hole on this golf course, right? The rest of them pretty much can go either way, depending on the player and how hot they are that day. But all the other holes on the course, for the most part, are birdieable. Not everybody will, but they certainly can. I think last year Bryson went 6 birdies in a row to catch and close out for his first tour win. So certainly a gettable course, any course that is all about opportunities and proximity to the pin with your short irons. Taking a quick look down here on how the holes break out, you'll notice that the par 4s that are mid-length from 400 to 450 yards they play right around par, those four of them. Well, those four holes, coupled with the long par fours, do dictate sort of the success and finishing position for the guys at the top of the leaderboard. Everybody should be scoring on the par fives, which leaves the par fours for the guys to really differentiate themselves. So one of the things I wanted to do this week was kind of take a quick look at the leaderboards from the last couple of years, and just to give you an idea of the type of player that seems to pop up here year in and year out. So we're all the way back in 2014 right now. Look at the winner, Brian Harman, short hitter, great wedge player, great putter. Zach Johnson, short hitter, great wedge player, great putter. Jerry Kelly, short hitter, great wedge player, great putter. Ryan Moore, great wedge player, great putter. Jordan Spieth, great wedge player, great putter. Johnson Wagner, great par 4 scorer, decent putter. Steve Stricker, like noticing a trend here just in 2014, all short hitters, great wedge players, good putters. It is very much an approach golf course. Distance does not matter here. And you look at the guys that have succeeded. We'll jump to 2017. And the tops of the leaderboard tend to look the same. No big hitters. All guys that are capable with their short irons and capable to catch hot putters. You do see a couple of guys that tend to pop up year in and year out. Chad Campbell seems to be on these leaderboards. Brian Harman, Steve Stricker, Zach Johnson, Wesley Bryan this year. And then you look in 2016, again, you just see more of the same. So we have a strong course fit for guys. And the unfortunate part is this skill set fits almost everybody on tour, right? Everybody on tour, given an easy golf course, is certainly capable of going low. So I favor recent form when I'm looking for players here, and I favor recent form and guys that fit the mold of lots of fairways, lots of greens, lots of opportunity. I will favor bent putters this week for sure. There is a difference, guys. If he's a better bent putter, I will use that as a tiebreaker. If all else is equal between two players this week. You see Wesley Bryan again. Bud Cauley seems to like this course. Our boy from last week, Kevin Na, has a T8 in 2016. Again, lots of second-tier golfers, partially because it's a very weak field. Most of the guys are already over in Europe, kind of prepping for the Open next week, or if they're playing, they've elected to play the Scottish Open to get used to the links and the weather conditions and time change, etc., etc. So a lot of guys are left over here vying for the one spot left into the Open for the winner. So you're definitely going to see a lot of guys that are in the field this week take this very seriously. It is very much a first-timers type of event. Guys can certainly pop up here, get their first win. I like to look at a lot of the sort of hot web.com players that maybe been middling around T30s and T40s in stronger fields earlier in the year. This field, much like last week, is where they can turn that T30 or T40 into a T10, T15 with another good week, just with a weaker field and a course that's easy enough and gettable for almost any game on tour. So lots of opportunity for pivot plays this week, and because it's such a birdie fest, again, the winning score the last few years, 18 under, 22 under, 20 under, 22, 19 under, with an average winning score of 20 under, it's a crapshoot on whether you're going to find six guys in a single lineup that are going to average, 66s across the board for 4 days of play. And that's kind of what it takes here. You need to be, 4 to 5 under every day, 3 to 5 under every day to find yourself in the mix on Sunday. And guys can play great this week and just, not hit a couple of putts, burn a few edges, and find themselves, out of position on Sunday, even though they played well, tee to green. So it is, I think the birdie fests add in a little more variance than normal. So certainly something to look out for this week, and I think this is a week where FanShare comes in handy, helping you identify some of those pivot plays that are going to be lower owned, that are certainly worth some flyers in fields like this, where really anybody can catch 4 good rounds of golf and pop up on a leaderboard this week. So other than that, guys, it is there's not a ton about this golf course that's really distinctive in my opinion. It is just a parkland style course that guys, you can take a bunch of different ways to score around here. Most of it's positioning off the tee. Some can. I mean, there are some gettable holes that guys can, bombers will have a slight advantage on. But for the most part, I'm going to discount distance as almost irrelevant here, and I'm going to look strictly at strokes gained approach. I want to favor good bent putters. I'm going to be looking at just weighing strokes gained par 5 and then mid-length to long par 4s. Actually, interesting note. One of the things I kind of I noticed when I was looking through the past winners here and their success on the groups of pars is the winners overwhelmingly succeeded on the par threes compared to the rest of the field. And I think that's because it's just such a heavy approach golf course. The guy that's just dialed in with his approaches for this week and just outpaces the rest of the field, like like a Martin Keimer does when he shows up. Right, he doesn't have to worry about scrambling or putting because everything's just so close to the pin. I think that's why the par three popped up so heavily for the winners. Is the guy that's on with their irons is just really outpacing the rest of the field, and it shows up when he all he has to do is hit a great iron into a green on a par three. So I think that's the reason it shows up for the winners. So if you're betting and looking for a winner, maybe take a look at par three scoring and see who pops. But for the rest of it, guys, it's going to be par fours and par fives for rounding out your DraftKings teams and making my player decisions. For the most part, it's going to be wrapped up there. Strokes gained approach and strokes gained putting. Again, very easy to hit fairways, very easy to hit greens. You're looking for a guy that can get hot and put 465s together. So a lot of variance. I'm going to be keeping a tight player pool this week, and I'll probably be taking it a little bit easy as well with the Open next week, and I'll be targeting that. Either way, guys, hope you were on Kevin Na and from last week. If not, make sure you get over to fansharesports.com. Check out their pivot plays on Wednesday nights. Everything else that they have to offer. B-Hacks' cheat sheet. Logan Harper's is taking the Pulse article that's in premium every single week. Does a great job with his ownership projections. Then make sure you're following me at DFS Jimmy on Twitter. Always tweeting out a bunch of good stuff. Also going to have our Open preview, course preview out a little bit early for everybody to make sure they have a chance to digest all of the carnage that is Carnoustie for the Open in the coming week. So with that, guys, DFS Jimmy signing off. Best of luck this week. We'll see you guys next week.